Hey everybody, this is Pooka, and I'm back with another game I played on the Pokemon trading card game online. Now, this is another game that's meant to kind of give a lesson, just show you when you can make a comeback, and don't get down on yourself just because you're down a few prizes, because there are some weird situations where you can come back in a game. Now, in this game, I'll be playing my Typhlosion Reshiram deck, and I'll be up against an Emboar deck. So, my start, not very good. I have nothing really in my hand. I had to start with both basics because I was worried about a Zekrom first turn loss. But, thinking back, I probably should have just started with the one Cyndaquil, that way I could hold on to the other one. Communication for a Cleffa and Eek on the first turn. So, maybe a mistake there, but not too sure. So, I'm going to need to top deck into something to get somewhere. Now, my opponent starts with the Reshiram and a double colorless and a copycat, so I don't really know what he's playing off the start. This could be anything, but then he benches a Tepig, so pretty sure it's an Emboar deck. I'll have to figure out whether or not it's with Magnezone or just with Ninetales. That'll be a big difference. So, right off the bat, I'm going to be under quite a bit of pressure from this Reshiram. I used Beat on the first turn just to set up for a Blue Flare later so I wouldn't have to waste a plus power. And, I get outraged for 30, so that's a negative side effect, but I still think I would have done that either way. Now, I look through my deck with the communication, and I see Cleffa is missing. So, this is going to be tough. How can I actually battle back from this? My hand is very bad. I have no Cleffa, I have no evolutions, I have no energy, I have no way to get anything going. So what am I supposed to do here? I think my best option is actually just to grab the Reshiram back and retreat to it and stall for time, because I need to buy as much time as possible just to get myself set up, make sure I don't lose right away, and just hope for the best, give myself the best opportunity to top deck into something. So I'm just gonna grab the Reshiram, retreat, and pass. At this point, I'm feeling like I'm in a huge hole. I'm going to need to top deck one of my supporters. I got Sharon, Oak's New Theory, Juniper, something that'll let me draw a bunch of cards at once, because just drawing a single card doesn't help me out a lot. There's no one card in my deck that can help me out, so I'm going to be in a bit of trouble. Now, I see a Pignite coming out from my opponent, and just another Outrage, so maybe his hand isn't too strong. And I draw a Quilava, but I'm going to hold on to it, just because I might need to junk arm communication and get something else. So, no need to evolve to Quilava. I have two rare candies in my hand, so I don't need to evolve right away. I'm actually better off holding the Pokemon in case I need a communication for something else. So, I just stay patient here, pass, don't really worry about it. I still need to draw some other stuff. So he hits me for 30 again. Draw a Rescue Energy. Not really sure what to do with it. I could put it on Reshiram. That might be my best bet. Just so I can get it back. I'm going to need a lot of Reshirams in order to fight back against the high hit points of an Emboar deck eventually. So maybe it's in my best interest to attach the Rescue on my active, just to get it back if he does knock me out. I can also threaten an Outrage. So if he uses Outrage for 30 again, I can hit him back, and I believe that would, if he hits me for 30 again, I'll be able to Outrage for 110, 120 with a plus power, and that would be a knockout. So it says, looks like we could both do with some draw here, and he says, oh wait, I forgot I had a communication, and I can get a Cleffa. So he kind of forgot he could get Cleffa, which is going to change the whole game. It goes from both of us needing to top deck from, both of us had nothing, and now he's going to get a fresh hand of 6, so it's going to completely flip the game around. And as we'll see, he has that double colorless on Reshiram. He can just retreat the Cleffa, and he'll get a fresh new hand. He'll be able to set up before I will, probably, which it's not good considering, look at my hand. It's just, don't you hate it when your brain doesn't work properly? Yeah, been there before. So, right now, not feeling too good about my spot. First of all, Emboar is not a good matchup for Typhlosion. Second of all, I'm pretty far behind in the setup. Third of all, I have nothing. So, what you're going to see here is him getting a new hand, staying asleep so I can't even get a prize to help me out. And, yeah, I don't have any options at this point. I could attach the fire if I wanted to. I mean, that is an option. If I draw another fire, I'll be able to blue flare. But, I don't know if I need to. I decided to do it. Just go ahead and attach the fire, just in case I need to blue flare. And his Cleffa wakes up going into his turn, so a little bit of bad luck so far on my end, but you know, I'm just working with what I have. You know, you can't be mad that you didn't draw what you wanted at the right time. You know, sometimes it just happens, so you have to keep a clear head in these situations. Don't say, oh, I'm so unlucky. And we see he gets a Collector for a Tepig and 2 Vulpix, so looks like it is a Ninetales version, not a Emboar deck, which is actually a welcome sight for me, because I'd rather face a Ninetales Emboar deck than a Magnezone Emboar deck. Magnezone just gives them another high hit point attacker that's really tough for Typhlosion to knock out, and you know, I'd just rather not deal with that. So we see he just benches 1 Vulpix, kind of interesting, in favor of a second Reshiram. I'm not sure what his thought process was there, since he'll have a Reshiram out already. If one gets knocked out, he can just promote Cleffa, bench another Reshiram, retreat for free. So I'm not really sure what he was doing there, but he does decide to do that. Also gets Emboar into play, so that'll be a big deal. So here he stays asleep, and I finally draw a Collector. Now this is interesting because it'll let me get my Vulpix. And I have that Junk Arm for communication. I'll be able to get a Ninetales eventually, but I need a fire still to use Roast Reveal. So, Collector improved my hand a lot, but so far, I still need something else to get going. So at this point, I can evolve to Quilava. I have extra Pokemon to shuffle into my deck. I can bench another Reshiram, because, you know, I'll get the other Reshiram back into my hand with the Rescue if he knocks me out. I hold on to the Cyndaquil just in case he doesn't knock me out. That way I have a Pokemon I can communication into my deck. No need to bench a third Cyndaquil at this stage in the game anyway. I mean, I don't have a use for 3 Typhlosions yet. I don't even have a use for 1 Typhlosion yet, because there's no fire in my... Well, there's 1 fire in my discard, but that's about it. So, I'm in no rush to get 3 Typhlosions in play, so I can hold on to the Cyndaquil here. Alright, so now we're going to see a Junk Arm from him. Not sure what he's going to grab. Probably the communication. Yep, there we go. And we'll see, I would assume, a Ninetales. That'll be his best bet for setting up. Something about these Emboar Ninetales decks, they heavily rely on the Ninetales. If you can take that out of play, if they can't Roast Reveal to keep refilling their hand, they actually just run out of steam. So that's something to keep in mind when you're playing against an Emboar Ninetales deck. Normally they don't run too many supporters, and if they do, that means they can't play the important supporters like Fisherman, and eventually they'll just run out of gas if they don't have the Roast Reveal option available. Now this is another reason why I thought not benching a second Vulpix was such a mistake, because oftentimes you need 2 Ninetales in play to really get yourself going. So here we'll see. He sends up his Reshiram, attaches a fire. He'll probably use Inferno Fandango to attach another fire, and my Reshiram will be knocked out. So there we go. I'm going to fall behind, and I don't really have a response to this quite yet. I can either promote Reshiram or something else, and I decided to promote Reshiram just because I don't really have anything to retreat my other stuff, and I'm fortunate to top deck a catcher. And I drag out his Emboar, and then, you know, I have to decide, do I want a communication for a Typhlosion, or do I want to wait, hope to draw Fire Energy, and then Roast Reveal into more stuff, I decided to be patient and just wait. So here we see a fisherman. It's kind of sad that he had to waste it on just 2 energy, but I guess his setup isn't too great either. It's far more established than mine, but still not great. So he's going to be going for a switch here, I would assume. And here we have a rare candy into another Emboar. Now, something interesting is that it's not the ability Emboar. What does this mean? It means if I knock out his only ability Emboar in play, and he has no fire in play, then he's not going to be able to attack for a while. So, this might come down to some energy management situations. And, you know, we'll have to see. I mean, he's leaving himself wide open to get that Emboar knocked out. And, I mean, it could come back to bite him. But we'll have to see. So, now you see I have 2 fire in my discard, but I have none in play. I finally got a Typhlosion. It's not really much in my hand still. Something I could do is play the Junk Arm to get communication for another Typhlosion, rare candy, and another Typhlosion, and then outrage him for 40, setting up a catcher knockout later in the game. But I decided to just play it safe, I think, and you know, just that would put me at a 0-card hand, put me at no options. So decided not to take the risk. Normally I play very conservatively, as you can see here, and I just pass. So at this point he has a 5-card hand. I'm not expecting him to have a switch. He only had those 2 fire off the fisherman last turn. Here's a roast reveal for 3 more. So I didn't expect much out of his hand. He couldn't add too much, but we'll see if he drew anything big off of the roast reveal. What I would fear the most is a switch, and then something like a Reshiram Blue Flare knockout. That would put me in a very bad spot. But that's a lot of cards to have, especially when he started the turn with such a low hand size. And the fact that he had to discard one of the fire to roast reveal. So we do see a fire on the Reshiram. It's kind of scaring me. If he has another one and a switch, I'm gonna be put in, well, to be honest, just a terrible spot. But nope, he doesn't have it. Draw communication. So, could actually play that and get another Typhlosion into play. But I'm in no hurry to get that Typhlosion this turn. There's no more fire in my discard. I assume my opponent doesn't play any judges, because normally Ninetales decks don't play judge, especially not Emboar Ninetales. So I'm content to hit his Emboar for 40. Now at this point I'm behind a prize, still behind in setup. I haven't seen a supporter in a while. There's no Ninetales. There's no fire in my discard. And really I'm behind in almost every phase of the game. The only thing I have going for me is his Emboar is active, and he hasn't been able to move it out of the active spot yet. But he attaches to Reshiram. Probably realizes if he's gonna get this Emboar knocked out, that he might as well dump the fire energy onto his Pokemon while he can. He doesn't want to be left in a spot where he's got no fire on his field, and then his Emboar gets knocked out, because then he won't be able to attack me, really. Because his Pokemon, all of them just discard energy to attack, and they all take 3 or 4 energy to do what they want to do. But as we're going to see here, he's attaching, that's 3 fire, and I'm assuming he's got a 4th, there we go. So, he has 2 options. First one would be the bad one, would be to Heat Crash me for 80, but the second one is to retreat. Now he'll be able to retreat to Reshiram, knock me out with Blue Flare, and once again I am put in a really bad spot. I got no fire in my hand. I have a Typhlosion, so hey, there we go. Drew a fire. Now I have to decide. So I want to go for Ninetales, risk it with Roast Reveal, and if I don't get a fire, I'll be pretty far behind. Or do I just get the Typhlosion and get a knockout? I decided to go for the Ninetales, because that's kind of the long-term play. Okay, and you see I draw Typhlosion, but I don't draw any fire. So, that's really bad. that means I'm not going to be able to Blue Flare. That means I won't be able to knock him out. And if I Afterburner to my active, he can just knock me out with a Blue Flare. But if I don't, that means he can just Outrage. And, I mean, that means I can't even Outrage. So, I'm in a really bad spot. So what I decided to do is try to buy some more time. I'm going to try to catch her out that Emboar again. It's got a 4 retreat cost. I mean, what else can I do here? I can't Afterburner to my active against the Reshiram. So that means Blue Flare just knocks me out. So I'm going to catch her out the Emboar again. Just Outrage him again. The reason I do this is because now I've done 80 damage to this Emboar. And if he has a switch or something and then knocks out my Reshiram, that's fine. I can actually catch her out, the Emboar, and attack with Typhlosion with Flare Destroy for 70 and finish it off. My main goal in this game is to eliminate the Infernal Fandango Emboars from play completely. That way he can't keep dropping energy on his Pokemon, and eventually he'll run out. So, as we see, there's a Fisherman again. I believe that's his 3rd Fisherman already. So that's something I gotta be aware of. He's used a lot of cards to get back energy already. The limiting factor of an Emboar deck is how many energy they have left. It's not like Typhlosion where you can just keep getting them back from the discard. You have to keep playing them from your hand, and then you have to play cards like Energy Retrieval and Fisherman to get them back out of the discard. But here we have a switch, so he doesn't have to burn 4 again to retreat. This is really bad for me for a lot of reasons. First of all, still don't have a supporter, don't have a fire energy. I know he's got fires in his hands, so what am I supposed to do here? I don't really know, to be honest. So, I promote Typhlosion, and I'm fortunate enough to draw a fire. So, I'm gonna Roast Reveal here, trying to draw some more stuff. And, well, I don't draw too much stuff. So, gonna have to Afterburner. Probably just charge up Reshiram and end up passing this turn, because I don't really have much else to do. I don't want to attack into his Reshiram, so that would mean I have to Afterburner to myself. I actually decided to Afterburner 1 to the Reshiram and 1 to the active. That way he can't Blue Flare me for a knockout, but I'll be able to retreat next turn by attaching a fire to my active. I also held on to my fire so I could Roast Reveal next turn. So I just left myself with the most options possible, basically. So now we're gonna see him attach to the heat or the Flare Blitz Emboar, the one without the ability. So something he could do this turn is retreat, knock out my Typhlosion with his Emboar, and that would put me in a bit of a pickle because I'll be left with 1 Typhlosion in play. I'll be down 4 prizes. Just the worst of everything, basically. I'm behind in setup, I'm behind in prizes, my attackers are worse than his. How can I possibly win the game? But something I did note earlier was that there are 11 cards in his deck now, and he plays a Sage's Training. Yep, I just saw it again, 11 cards, so the Sage will bring him down to 6 cards in his deck. So if it's possible, I'll be able to maybe run him out of cards. Unless he runs some way to get cards back into his deck. I mean, he could use Cleffa to Eek, that's always an option. But when you're down this many prizes, you can't really play to win the game on prizes unless you have a lock deck. Something like Ross Cawthon's Vileplume Reuniclus deck that is built to deny your opponent prizes. That's not the kind of deck Typhlosion is. It's the kind of deck that just tries to pummel your opponent. You try to trade prizes and eventually you overwhelm them with a constant stream of Reshirams. But when you're down 3 or 4 prizes, there's no way you can come back doing that. So what you're going to see here is he sends out the Flare Blitz Emboar, gets a knockout, and I'm in some trouble. However, the opening I do see is I could catch her out the ability Emboar and get a knockout here. However, I don't draw a catcher, so there's not a whole lot I can do. I can collect her for Cyndaquil, it's the only basic left in my deck actually. So I'm down to the bare minimum of everything at this point. I have one Typhlosion left. I'll be able to get a second one, fortunately. I'm out of Reshirams. I'm out of attackers, pretty much. So what I'm going to do is just outrage him, I think, for 40. And try to get a catcher next turn for that Emboar. Try to bring it out, Flare Destroy for a knockout, and then hopefully he gets into a situation where he's left with just no attackers. So I have to decide here, do I want to take a risk and Blue Flare, hope to top deck into something? That way I can set it up for a Flare Destroy knockout later, or do I just want to outrage, save the fire for a Roast Reveal, and try to draw a catcher next turn? And I decided to just stay with the catcher route, and what do you know? He catches out my Typhlosion, and I'm in even more trouble. So, at this point I'm going to be down to no Typhlosions in play, but I do have that rare candy Typhlosion. Be able to get another one so I can afterburner onto my Reshiram. But I'll be down 6-1 in prizes. This is the worst deficit you can be in Pokemon. You can't be losing any worse than that. And a comeback from that sort of a prize deficit is nearly impossible, especially in this format, unless you're running a deck that I described earlier that is aimed to deny your opponent prizes. So, at this point I'm going to have to find a creative way out. Now, I promote Reshiram because that's really going to be my only way to attack. I go for the Roast Reveal, and I draw a Junk Arm. Now that's a welcome card. That'll mean I can catcher out that Emboar on the bench, and then I'll be fine. Attach Double Colorless to Reshiram just in case I need to retreat and Flare Destroy next turn. So I'm gonna Junk Arm for catcher. Then I'll Afterburner onto my Typhlosion just in case I need to attack with that. Just gonna keep my options open for attackers. Catcher out the Emboar. That way he can't keep attaching energy from his hand. And I'll Blue Flare for a knockout. So I've finally taken my first prize after my opponent's taken 5 of them. You know, not the greatest situation in the world, but he does have very few cards left in his deck. He's burned through a lot of energy, he's burned through a lot of Fishermen, and you're going to see he's got 4 cards in his deck. Doesn't play another Tepig, which is kind of curious. Actually puts down a 3rd Reshiram, not sure why he did that. But all he's got in play for energy is that Emboar, which has just a Double Colorless on it. What's he supposed to do about this? Well, the reason I Afterburner on the Typhlosion last turn is because I recognize this. I recognize my opponent is now only able to attach 1 energy per turn. So, if I can Flare Destroy the Double Colorless off of his Emboar, I'll make it so that Emboar can actually never attack me again, because I'll just keep discarding the energy off it. And it's going to put my opponent in a terrible position. Now he puts the energy onto Emboar. He's going to hope... Oh, he's actually going to play Sage, which is kind of curious. Going to put himself at 0 cards in his deck, so that's going to mean he's going to use Eek this turn. There's probably something he was looking for in there, I'm not sure what. Maybe he was just trying to get rid of the collectors that were sitting in his deck. So either way, he's going to have to Eek this turn to prevent himself from decking. And he's going to pray that I don't have a catcher to knock out that Emboar, or at the very least, discard the energy off of it. So, at this point, you can see how much the game has actually flipped around. And my opponent actually retreats to that Emboar, but I think he realizes that he can't do that if he takes a look at his deck size. So yeah, he takes that back. My opponent at this point probably realizes, I was close to winning, but what happened? So, he was ahead 6-1 in prizes. He had complete domination in every facet of the game. Then that one little thing, messing up his bench a little bit, leaving him so vulnerable in case I ever knocked out that Emboar, that cost him. So, here we're going to see a top deck of Sharon. I can Roast Reveal or Sharon. So, I'm going to need a fire either way to attack, so I just want to make sure I don't need to Roast Reveal or I don't, not to use Roast Reveal if I don't have to. So, I use Roast Reveal anyway just because there's so many fire left in my deck. And I'm going to need to hit a catcher here, and there we go. There it is. That's exactly what I needed to win this game. So, I'll be able to Afterburner onto Reshiram. And since I did Outrage earlier on that Emboar on the bench, I'll be able to catcher out that Emboar that's got all of his energy. This is his last hope in the game. And then I'll Blue Flare for a knockout. And now he's left with no energy in play, very few cards left in his deck, and he actually decides to concede. So, what do you know? I was down 6-1 in prizes. It looked bleak the whole game, but I stayed patient. I analyzed everything I had in front of me. I noticed my opponent had a weak spot on his board, and I just took my time. I realized even though the prize situation looked absolutely terrible, I was not out of the game. You always have to look at these other factors like cards in your opponent's deck, their bench management, what they have in play, their energy in play, and so this is a lesson to not always freak out when you're down in so many prizes, and also to manage your bench properly, because I think that's where my opponent went wrong. He had complete control of the game, but he gave me that opening. If he didn't give me that opening, there's no question about it, I lose the game. If he has another Emboar with the ability in play, there's no chance I win that game. He just takes the last prize. I'm gonna lose. So, hopefully, this kind of taught you something. Maybe it did, maybe it didn't. But I'm just trying to show some games where some cool things happen, some interesting things happen. And I thought this was a neat game, so I just wanted to show you. And this did happen on my live stream. I've been streaming games every night on Pokemon Trading Card Game Online, so check that out if you're interested. So anytime a nice game like this happens, I go back and analyze it and put it on YouTube just so other people can see what happened. So thank you for watching. Leave me some feedback in the comments. Tell me if there's anything I can improve on, anything else you want me to do. And until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.